So at the start of Roland Garros, I made some predictions like we do at every Grand Slam in the recent years. And spoiler alert, it wasn't actually that bad this time. Let's go have a look. Alright, so Sabalenka, Swiatek, who's going to go further? I reckon Sabalenka might just go a little bit further than Swiatek. So great start. Sabalenka beat Swiatek in the semi-finals and got into the final. And of course was up a set against Gauff before Gauff came back and won the whole thing. But take that one for one. Now, the best of the qualies. This is really interesting because some of the qualifiers are also lucky losers coming into this tournament. On the women's side, I'm going to go with Mboko. And also Cilic, who came in as a lucky loser. So I did alright with Mboko. She actually made the third round, lost to Zhang in the end, which, of course, on a clay court, losing to the gold medalist at last year's Olympics isn't a bad thing. Unfortunately, Cilic, he lost in the first round. I probably should have gone with someone else, like Misilic or Giganti, but neither of those guys made it past the third round. In fact, there was no qualifiers going past the third round on the men's side, so I should have probably gone with one of them instead. The country that's going to have the most success, I'm going to go with Italy. I think that Italy... Alright, so it wasn't even close. It was America. They smoked it this time, especially with Gauff on the women's side, of course, but there was a lot of other players that did really well. Of course, Paul did really well, but it was also players that making the third round. It all added up to America just dominating this tournament for the most part. America were too good. Most aces. Now, we don't get many aces on clay, so this is a little bit of a tricky one to pick, but I'm going to go with Zhang on the women's side. I'm going to go with Zverev on the men's side. So I wasn't far off with Zhang. She actually hit the second most aces behind Sabalenka, who of course made the final. Had Zhang have beaten Sabalenka all the way, maybe she would have been the best or the most aces for the tournament. But on the men's side, Zverev wasn't even close. Bublik was actually the top ace hitter. No surprise there. He made it to the quarterfinals and he hits a lot of aces. So a little bit of a bad one there, but again, it's hard to pick Bublik on clay. Alright, Sinner and Alcaraz. Who's going to go further? I'm going to go with Alcaraz. He's been in the greatest form on clay. Alright, so this was very close. Of course, they made the final. They played each other in the final. There was match points for Sinner, and then Alcaraz came back in one of the greatest comebacks we've seen in recent times. So I'm gonna count my blessings for that one because, man, that was close. Nearly missed out on that one, but I'll take it. Okay, unseeded success players. I'm going to go with Osaka on the women's side. And I'm going to go with Fonseca on the men's side. So Osaka lost the first round to Badosa, so close as well in that matchup, and Badosa went on to the third round, eventually losing in the end, but man, it was, if she won that match, who knows what could have been. And Fonseca actually went on a little bit of a run, but not on a run as much as I would have thought. Fourth round or better usually for these two players. If they make the fourth round, I'll take it as a win, but he lost to Draper in the end in the third round. So unfortunately, can't take these ones, but a couple of players I could have picked. Maybe I could have gone with Altmaier on the men's side. He had a bit of a random run. And of course, Boison on the women's side. Who would have thought that she would make the semi-finals as a wild card who was unseeded? So should have gone with those players, but hey, who knows? Top 10 upsets, probably already know now. Badosa on the women's side. And I reckon Fritz on the men's side. He just hasn't been great on the clay this year. Alright, so Badosa did lose in a bit of an upset to Kazatkina in the third round. She was supposed to, I guess, predicted to go to the fourth round and play on Draper. She didn't, so I'll take that one. And Fritz, he lost first round. He lost to Altmaier, who made it to the fourth round in his place. So I'll take that one as well with Fritz because, like I said, Fritz wasn't playing great. And hopefully, when he goes to the grass, he'll be better. Okay, my dark horse picks, players that are sort of lower seeds or lower ranked players in the draw. I'm going to go with Svitolina. And on the men's side, I'm going to go with Cerundolo, who's been very impressive as well. Alright, so let's get it out of the way. Cerundolo played terrible. He lost first round in a massive upset. He was playing so well. He won, I think, the third most matches on clay this year until he loses in the first round. So that was really disappointing. But Svitolina made the quarterfinals, and she was the second lowest ranked player besides Boison, who, was a wild card. So I'll take that. I'll take that quarterfinal result. She lost to Swiatek in the end, and it was the number 13 seed. So I'll take the Svitolina pick, but Cerundolo was really disappointing. So a little bit of a different one here. Djokovic, Draper. Who's going to go further? I'm going to go with Djokovic to go further just. Alright, so Djokovic got to the semi-finals and Draper lost to Bublik in a bit of an upset in that fourth round. So I'll take that. And he did have a tougher draw. Draper, he was going to play Sinner in the quarterfinals, whereas Djokovic was playing Zverev, and maybe playing Sinner instead of Zverev right now was a little bit tougher. So I kind of based it off that, but Djokovic did further, so I'll take that. All right, so my semi-final lineups for this event, it's kind of a bit obvious because I'm just going to go with the favorites. I reckon it's going to be Sabalenka Swiatek on the one side, and I'm going to go with Draper Gauff on the other side. On the men's side, I'm going to go Sinner Djokovic in one of the semi-finals, and on the other side, I'm going to go Musetti Alcaraz. All right, 7 out of 8. That is ridiculous. I've never come that close. And I was one win away. If Draper could have just handled the French crowd a little better to a perfect 8 out of 8. Of course, Sabalenka Swiatek was the semi-final. Gauff versus Boison instead of Draper. So, again, if Draper had handed the crowd, she would have made it. But on the men's side, Sinner versus Djokovic, Alcaraz versus Musetti. That's exactly what we saw, and I'll take it. And the winners of the French Open, who am I going to go with? On the women's side, I'm going to go with Coco Gauff. She's been so impressive on the clay and made so many finals that I reckon she's just saving the win for this one. And on the men's side, I'm going with Alcaraz. I mean, I think everybody's going to be picking Alcaraz at this point. All right, so I think the second time ever that I've actually picked the champions. Gauff was a bit of a tougher pick, though, because, of course, you had Swiatek, you had Sabalenka, you could have gone with Paolini. So I went with Gauff, and it paid off just in the end. And Alcaraz, even though the final was really close, he did look okay throughout the entire tournament. He was the favorite from start to finish. You know, Sinner did probably, before the final, maybe Sinner was a slight favorite after having a little bit of a better quarterfinal or a better semi-final. But I'll take it. That's pretty good. I'm taking those scores. So there it is. Let me know down in the comments below how you did with your predictions, if you jumped in and did these predictions as well. These are probably my best predictions ever, so I'm going to have to retire after this. The players that have been playing well did well, and they performed at the Slam, and there wasn't too many crazy results. So there it is. That's the French Open predictions. We'll see what happens at Wimbledon in a couple of weeks.